nobody around for me to be jealous of. I bet you do a show in my city and no one cheers. Even if you make the music that ladies and fellas love. And dog, I'm incredible, often unforgettable. And when it come to records, I will eat it if it's edible.
I'm going to be using a large dome cap along with my size 23 dome head. And today, the closure that we're using is from Allie Grace. It is a straight free part 5x5 closure, and it is also 20 inches. The hair that I'll be using is some hair that I already had from Nadula on AliExpress, and I used it for a frontal wig. Unfortunately, I didn't get the footage of me placing the closure on the dome cap, but the way that I have it is the way that you guys also need to have it, so that when you actually put it on your head, it will lay flat. The only thing that you need to make sure is that it's where you want it. So mine is going in the middle, so I have mine straight in the middle, and it is laying flat because of the T-pins that I have. And you also want to make sure that the lace is just a little bit over the beginning of your cap. So right now what I'm showing you guys how to do is how to create a very sturdy knot. So I'm going to take the thread and wrap it around my index and my middle finger and basically pull it through that loop until I get a tiny little knot. And I actually like to do mine 3 times just to make sure it's very secure, so that nothing's coming loose, nothing's pulling apart. I know I showed you guys how to do a knot in the last wig video that I did, but those knots are kind of flimsy, and this knot right here is very sturdy, and I think it's very foolproof. So I really did want to show you guys this. And just to clarify, this is the knot that I make when I'm threading my needles. So now that you have your knot, you're basically just going to go ahead and snip off the excess thread. So you just have the tiny little knot at the end. Now I'm showing you guys how we are going to sew the lace closure onto the cap. So the way that I threaded this, and I have a few ways that I showed you guys how to thread this throughout the video, but the way that I'm doing it right here is I'm taking the thread and I'm looping it around the needle a few times and then pulling through. So that makes the lace very secure, but there are also other ways to sew. You don't have to do it like this, and that was the purpose of me showing you guys a few different ways to do it.
Got it bumping. Got it bumping.
Okay, so now we're at the point where I'm showing you guys the second different stitch, and right here I'm just going to thread the needle through the lace, and then I'm going to take the thread and just wrap it behind the needle and pull through. Right here I'm showing you guys how to end a thread. So basically what I like to do is I like to cut off most of the thread from the needle, but I like to keep enough just there for me to be comfortable to wrap the thread around both of my fingers like how we did in the beginning, and pull it very, very close to the lace, and then cut off the excess thread. I also like to do a couple knots at the end of my thread to make sure that it's secure, but you can do as many as you want to as well. And here I'm just showing you guys how to do the knot again, starting a new thread for a new needle. And I'm doing it 3 times. I think I messed up right there, so I had to go off camera and fix it, but yeah, I definitely did it 3 times. A good method for making sure that your closure comes out flat when you sew it is sewing one side at a time. So I started with one side. I had a T-pin in the back, like right in the middle, and I sewed the whole left and or right side first, and then after I did that, I took the T-pin out and I went back and sewed the whole other side that wasn't sewed down yet. So I used a different method right here for closing up that end of the thread. I went ahead and I wrapped that thread around the needle a few good times, and then I just ended up pulling the knot to the closure, and then I cut off the excess. But then I also went in and tied it with my fingers still, just to make sure that it was extra secure. So now I'm going to show you guys how to secure the ends of your bundles before you start sewing, so you don't have any loose flaps. Everything will lay flat down. So you're going to take your needle. I don't know why I changed it, because I think I had it correct the first time, but either way it's fine. Either way it's going to lay flat, but you want to take the needle and thread it through. Then the very end you want to pull up and then take the needle and thread it in between. Thread it in between that end, and then pull it down. Pull that sucker down. So now when you sew it onto your cap, you don't have to worry about any loose track flaps coming up when you combing your wig. Nothing really special here. I ended up sewing my needle through my wefts and then through the cap, but you can also hold your wefts to your cap and sew them onto there like that as well. I wanted to be very specific about the threading technique that I'm using throughout the head. You guys can't see it on camera, but what I'm doing is I'm twisting the thread, and then I'm taking the loop and I'm pulling the needle through that loop. So that is the technique that I'm using throughout the hair when I'm sewing these bundles. I'm so sorry I didn't get any footage of that, but if you see my hand twisting or you see the thread twisting, that is the method that I'm using. I want to be very specific that the only time that I'm not using that technique is when I'm starting a bundle or when I'm ending a bundle. So when I'm starting a bundle, I'm doing a knot, and when I'm ending a bundle, I'm doing a knot. But besides that, everything in between is that technique that I just showed you. And I know you guys see me using the T-pins. The T-pins are very helpful in keeping the hair in place while you are trying to sew, so you don't have to worry about trying to keep that other side of the track up. So I know you guys see that I have doubled my wefts. So yes, that is what I do for about 2/3 of the head, I like to double my wefts, and I honestly don't start singling them until I get to the very, very top, because that's where I need it to be flat. But I do like my wigs to be full, so that is why I go ahead and double my tracks at the bottom and throughout the middle. I did not show you guys how to do the fold over method because these bundles were used, so they were already pre-cut, so I couldn't really show you how to do that. But if you are a beginner and you're trying to double them, it's best just to go ahead and cut them anyways. I honestly feel like it'll be fine. I also want to specify that the only times that I'm going through the wefts is when I'm starting a bundle or when I'm ending a bundle. So here you see that I'm securing the very, very end of these wefts, and I'm sewing it through the weft instead of over and under like I've been doing, just to make sure that it's very secure.
Got it bumping. Got it bumping.
The shape that I'm sewing the tracks in is in a U shape around the head. So from one side to a whole nother side, and your tracks should be going in a U shape.
Got it bumping.
I wanted to show you guys this part because I know this part used to be tricky for me. So when you get to this part of the head, so it's like you're like 2/3 of the way done, and you're like, okay, should I do another U track or should I start going across? So right here you can see that I'm gonna fit one more U track right here, but after that, that's it. After this track, I'm just gonna start going across with the wefts.
Dylan got it bumping.
I hope I'm not confusing y'all with all this information, but I had one more ending method, I guess, to show you guys how to end your wefts if you didn't like the loop method with the fingers. So basically you make a loop with the thread and then pull the needle through and pull that knot all the way to the weft and then cut it. So then you don't ever have to wrap it around your fingers or anything like that. Okay, so here is where we are going to start going across with our single wefts. So all we got to do right here is just keep going straight across. We are literally in the home stretch. We gonna be good. The same method that we use all throughout the hair for sewing the rest of the tracks is the same method that we're going to use for the single ones.
Dylan got it bumping.
I'm showing you guys that other ending method again of how to end your wefts, and this one doesn't involve the two fingers, so this is just the loop one with the thread and the needle. And this one is actually a lot easier because you don't have to worry about not having enough thread to wrap around your fingers or anything like that. You can just loop it through and then snip it and keep pushing.
Dylan got it bumping.
And I do want to apologize for the appearance of my bundles. I I actually just had snipped them off of my old wig and washed them, so that's why they look all crazy. But this is the final track that I'm doing to close up the wig. And when I'm doing this one, I actually did not sew it onto the lace of the closure. I just went ahead and just sewed it like right on the edge of it. So you closing that thing up and you finished. You finally did it.
Got it bumping.
Okay, y'all, so that is the end of the video. We finished our wig. I will upload a few more videos showing y'all how I bleach my knots and how I style it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see y'all later. Peace.